Welcome to Otier Debate, our off-the-record podcast where three lawyers debate all things while managing to find out how it all comes back to the law. I'm Mucci, and I'll be the judge of this fast food debate. I usually work in immigration, but I will be a judge today. Let's meet our debaters. We, on one corner, what are you representing and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Wee. I work in legislation, and I will be representing Taco Bell.
And Lando?
His shirt kind of matches Taco Bell, huh?
It does, a little bit, yeah.
It's unnintentional because I wouldn't know.
And,
uh,
You have issues distinguishing color from...
Yes.
Okay.
Just assume that everyone knew that already. So.
Eagle-eyed listeners, or eagle-eared listeners would know that.
My name's Lando. I'm a prosecutor. I am going to be advocating for Panda Express.
All right, and of course, I just want to clear the air before anyone gets upset. We're not going to be getting into the Doughboys territory, right?
No, we shouldn't.
And the Doughboys is a great podcast that talks about chain restaurants. Nick Weiger and Mike Mitchell talk about chain restaurants. But, well, we don't really put anything through a trial format like we do. And
No, I don't believe they're lawyers. I don't think that they want to do any of that stuff as they shouldn't.
Yeah. So, but hey, if you haven't listened to us before, that's what we do here. We're going to put this through a kind of trial format where we're going to have opening statements, and then I'll ask some questions. We might take a brief recess when the food gets here. How about the first of those things? Who wants to open?
We can open.
Okay, sounds good. So for those of you who are already familiar with the history of Taco Bell, obviously I'm not trying to defend cultural appropriation or anything like that, but I have no problems with entrepreneurs. And so Taco Bell was started by this man named Glenn Bell, an entrepreneur. And in the 1960s, before the 1960s, so in the 1940s, he had a hot dog stand in California. And one of his neighboring restaurants was a Mexican restaurant. And he would always look outside and see long lines of customers waiting to get these things that were called hard-shell tacos. And
These exotic things.
right, yeah, at the time,
yeah.
and so he several times tried to reverse engineer this taco to see how it was made, like what spices were being used and stuff. Eventually, the owners allowed him to see how they make them, and so he took what he learned and he opened up this new stand in the 50s. At first, it was called Tacotia. And then El Taco, and eventually landed on Taco Bell. And so the original Taco Bell was in the early 1960s. From there, he gained a lot of popularity, started franchising out. It was eventually bought by PepsiCo and then Yum Foods. And now today, there are 8,500 plus locations of Taco Bell all over the world, obviously throughout the US and North America, but also South America, Europe, Asia, Middle East, Oceania. So, just a good old white man spreading the joy of Mexican-inspired food across the ocean.
Keyword inspired.
Yeah.
All right.
Is yours similarly inspired?
Well, I mean, it inspires, I think.
Oh.
So, think inside the box. Hot Chinese food. Enjoy. That's the tagline of Panda Express, and it says it all, really. The Panda Restaurant Group was founded in...
Why are you still talking?
The Panda Restaurant Group was founded in 1973 by Andrew Chung and his father, Ming Sai Chung, with their first chain restaurant being Panda Inn. So it was kind of like it was a more sit-down, a little bit... It wouldn't be the fast food that we know. So they established that restaurant. It became a chain. Fast forward to 1982, Peggy Chung joined her husband in the restaurant game, and through their connections, in knowing like this UCLA like coach, somehow they ended up in the malls. Panda Express comes about, and that is kind of where it all starts. And now they're in the US, they're in Canada. This all started in Pasadena, California.
So would this basically be like if Chili's 2 became just the thing, like
The Thing, like from the movie The Thing?
yeah, exactly. No. Like what I mean is that original Chili's exists, right? And then Chili's 2 appears in malls and such. But then we don't know Chili's anymore. We just know Chili's 2 because it's the express version of Panda, right? I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, this is a situation where we have a Chinese-born immigrant that comes to the U.S. He is now worth $2.9 billion, basically inspiring others with his culture. He came here when he was 18. That's a stark difference from Mr. Bell.
Who's a World War II veteran, so watch what you say, man.
And so we have all that. It's huge success, clearly. On top of it, just to kind of persuade our judge very early on, he's 76 years old. He's the top of the Panda food chain. He's got 3 daughters. Okay, 2 of them work for the company. One of them's a teacher. So there you go, Mucci.
Just marrying for money.
I mean, and for love. You don't know. They could be wonderful women.
Okay.
So that's my opening.
All right. Well, that didn't win it outright for you immediately at the beginning. But let's go to the questions. So move on to question 1. Oh, and I see you got a Chinese beer there.
Yes, I do.
I have beer for tagos from Off Color Brewing, but that doesn't. I don't need to recuse myself.
That seems like you're kind of already colluding.
No. The first question I'm going to ask is like, what are some memorable or fun or interesting moments from your franchise's history? And these could be fun ads or promotional items that are offered. What do you got?
Okay. I've got a couple, just like a couple brief ones. Panda Express had a 2013 commercial called Make Life Happy. And the way I found this is because, obviously I just went to Google right away to see like all these ads and YouTube and stuff like that. But when I typed it into Google, the AI like suggestion at the top, which is like new, I haven't seen this before, but the AI suggestion said, came up with Make Life Happy and then ... that some say is funny. And so I was like, oh, interesting. So I click on it and I see this commercial and I'm fully convinced that this AI motherfucker that like suggested it to me created this commercial because it's just like the song is like talking about people laughing and then in every scene it's just like people laughing with a box of Panda. And it looks and this is in 2013, so that can't be the case. But I mean, it really looked like it was an AI commercial. There's also Panda Express. They did a crossover with Turning Red, the movie that we've all seen. We had like a movie night for it. Pretty cute. At the end of it, it just randomly says "Walk On."
And then the commercial?
Yeah, the commercial.
Oh, okay.
W-O-K. Just like "Walk On." It's just kind of random. I was like, was that something they said in the movie? I don't remember.
Do you know what the boy band is in it? Is it maybe a reference to?
Oh, it was like something 4, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wanted to say Boys for Now, but is that Bob's Burgers?
It could be Bob's Burgers.
I can't remember.
We clearly are huge fans of this movie.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Write the review that said no one can relate to it.
I mean, I guess it's probably just saying like rock on.
Yeah.
Right.
And obviously things at Panda Express are made in woks.
Right.
And sometimes people make fun of other people's accents. So
I really hope that wasn't their goal because it was a Panda Express commercial. But my favorite one that I found was Back with a Bang. It was released 5 months ago, reintroducing the firecracker shrimp, which I love the shrimp from Panda Express. It's like really good. I don't usually order it because it's a little bit more expensive. It's like $1 or something. Yeah. So usually I tell them, hey, can I taste that? And then I try one. And it's usually my filling for the shrimp. But yeah, so 5 months ago it came out. The scene is there's a dad, there are 2 kids, 2 like younger kids. And there's a woman there that I took to be the grandmother. I mean, it could be his wife. She's a little bit older than him. Okay. And by little, I mean like a lot older than him.
You're not sure if it's this guy's wife or his grandmother?
Or their grandmother.
Oh,
Like
okay.
his mother.
Oh, I see.
Because I don't know their life, Mucci. I'm just starting the commercial. It's like 2 seconds in. I see this scene. All right, so they're at a dinner table. It's the man, what I took to be the kid's grandmother, and the 2 kids. So
Okay.
they're they are seated with all this Panda Express on the table. There's a box of Panda Express right in the middle. Then the box starts shaking. And the grandmother's like looking at it like, what the fuck? Never in my years have I seen something like this. Her eyes are like bulging. She's looking at this thing. It starts shaking. Meanwhile, Boom Clap by Charlie XCX starts playing.
Now I'm on your side.
The box explodes. The grandmother is pushed back in her seat. She goes flying back in her seat, goes into what I can only imagine is the Upside Down from Stranger Things. Because when she lands, she's like engulfed in darkness. It's all black. Charlie XCX is still playing. Firecracker shrimp is exploding in the sky. Her like smile is ear to ear. The family joins her. They're all like fucking laughing like lunatics, like looking at these shrimp that are exploding. The grandmother, it's so bright. The grandmother puts her sunglasses on, and they're just staring in
You're
wonder.
so bright. Just gotta wear shades.
Yeah, and then it goes back to the table, and it's like them like dodo heads with their like with chopsticks and like making noises with the shrimp, and it's a cute and funny commercial that it got me good. I thought it was pretty funny.
Funnier than the one that some AI said some people find funny.
Oh,
from
for
2013.
sure, 100%.
Interesting. What do you have for Taco Bell? Some fun like promos or ads or anything?
Yeah, I don't know if I can paint a picture quite as well as Orlando because I was just like, I feel like I've seen the commercial
I've seen
already.
it, yeah.
Although I definitely have not.
Well, we should watch it after this because this is pretty funny.
But I think, for people of our generation, when you think of Taco Bell, you immediately think of a Chihuahua. And you
Thanks
think
to
of,
Bell. Like, what the hell, man?
So if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're a Gen Z listener and you weren't alive for this, for 3 very short years, less than 3 years
There's
actually.
only 3 years.
Yes, from 1997 to 2000.
When like dog years, it's like 21 years.
Yeah.
So.
And it was actually less than 3 years because it was like September 97 to July 2000.
And if I could just, you could keep going, but I just look over and I see I see we scroll down to the picture of the fucking Chihuahua.
Just had to remind myself of, first of all, RIP. The dog's name was Gidget. And
Went back to the picture.
just had to keep reminding myself to get into the mode to talk about her. But yes, it was her. Obviously, the voiceover was a man. But Gidget played a really important role, I think, in a lot of our upbringings and a lot of our Spanish education. Because I would argue that most Americans' kids' first Spanish words are "Yo quiero Taco Bell." But anyway, the dog became so popular. They started making like little plush dolls of her and selling them at Taco Bell.
I always thought it was a guy, a boy dog.
Yeah, I thought so
dude.
too. Well, unfortunately, probably fortunately, actually.
Did they have a name? Did they release the name?
I think they were that was just her real name,
Okay.
Gidget. I think she was just known as a Taco Bell dog or Taco Bell Chihuahua. But unbeknownst to me, because I was not woke at the time, I didn't really realize that there was a whole movement from the Latin American community against Taco Bell, boycotting soon after this mascot came out in 97. So 98, Mario Obledo, who is like the godfather of the Latin American movement, he led this boycott against Taco Bell, which led to the discontinuation of this Chihuahua being used as a mascot. And I just had no idea about this. I was also like 6 years old, but
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of blows my mind too that I learned it was only 3 years because I feel like it was like so much of our
It
childhood.
seemed like a long time. Very like the campaign seemed to be like everywhere.
Right.
It was like,
Yeah, but it's okay for Gidget because after this Taco Bell career ended, she did appear in Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde as
Oh, I thought I recognized her.
yeah, she was Bruiser's mom.
Yeah.
And so that was one moment that I think we all remember from Taco Bell. Well, we as of a certain age. And I think the other big like pop culture moment I want to talk about with Taco Bell is the Mexican pizza. So if you're not familiar with the Mexican pizza, it was first introduced in the 80s.
I see a picture of it.
Yeah, here you go. It actually looks better back then in the 80s than it does now.
Yeah.
So it was originally called the Pizzazz Pizza when it first came out, and it included olives and green onions at the time too. And then it was renamed Mexican Pizza a few years later. But it was like pretty popular, and I think one of the reasons it was popular too is because it was easily made vegetarian, so you could swap out the beef for the beans, and so it was really popular amongst particularly South Asian Americans. So in 2020, when Taco Bell announced that they were going to discontinue the Mexican pizza, a South Asian American started this whole campaign to bring it back. And then Doja Cat like tweeted to say bring the Mexican pizza back. The whole reason Taco Bell wanted to discontinue is because the packaging it came in was apparently bad for the environment or not sustainable. So also like in good measures, and it was like harder to make or more costly maybe. So anyway, it went viral. Doja Cat at one of her concerts says like, I brought this back because...
I actually think I remember hearing about this.
Yeah, so this was like in the
randomly.
pandemic, you know?
Yeah.
And so...
Oh yeah, I think it might have like pretty like very recently.
Yeah, it came back in 2022.
Yeah.
And so they actually like had Mexican Pizza the musical starring Doja Cat and Dolly Parton on TikTok. And so it's just like this whole movement. I think Taco Bell is really able to inspire like mass fandom, I guess, over like one product, for instance, or one character or one mascot. And yeah, I think that's kind of led to a lot of other things like a Taco Bell hotel being opened. People can go get married in Taco Bell in Las Vegas. There's just really this whole culture around Taco Bell.
Yeah. And with this menu item, Mr. Bell was able to kind of like be inspired by two different types of people. Am I right?
Mine and yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
we got to stick together,
I
Mucci.
think I heard the buzzer. Our food's here, so why don't we take a brief recess?
Yeah.
And we'll have some of the food, and we'll do a recess segment.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. As I said, now the food has arrived. So what we're going to do while we eat a little bit is a little recess segment we call Contempt Proceeding. Now, we've been talking about things we like, fast food restaurants we like. Let's hear about what you don't like. What would you hold under contempt?
Well, I seem to always be disappointed when I go to Raising Cane's.
What?
Yeah, when I first had it, actually, I was at your place when I first had it, and it was
Yeah,
pretty
because
good.
it's great.
That one time. And then I went to their new large location in downtown Chicago in the Loop, and it was just not good. You know, Raising Cane sauce is solidly good, but that's because it's mass produced and is distributed everywhere like that. But I just think inconsistency with the chicken, the fries are really not that good. The toast.
So it only lasts on the strength of the sauce? That's the only reason why you think it's any
Yeah, I mean,
good?
I think like
Have a meal there?
any food, you cover it with good sauce, it will taste good. You know,
Right. But the chicken itself is what, like dry or?
I just think it could use a better fry. Both in like the sense that it could be better deep fried and also a better accompanying French fry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can kind of see that. What do you got, Council?
You mind if I finish doing? You
sorry.
can keep
You
going.
can-
Okay. What's another place I find disappointing? Another one, Jimmy John's, which I didn't really know about until I moved to Chicago. Which, for those of you who aren't familiar, it's a sub shop. Well, supposedly, air quotes sub shop. I grew up eating Subway a lot, so that's what I was familiar with.
Big fan of Jared.
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone is anymore.
No, not anymore for sure.
But you know, their signs on their windows usually say like free smells. It's not really a smell I want. You can keep your free smell.
That's the bread. Yeah.
It just always smells like a little sour,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's meant to be sourdough.
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
like a little rotten. And then what else? I mean, really, the biggest one I would hold in contempt is Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Well,
Wow, okay.
But we don't have to get
For
into
different.
that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Not from the taste.
No,
but,
no. Yeah.
But from their
Right. I mean, the bad taste it leaves in your mouth.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, before we get to our last question, I just want to remind everyone to please like this wherever you're listening or watching on YouTube or Spotify or whatever, and definitely subscribe to us, follow us on our social media as well, and leave us a good review. We'd love it, and we love you.
Yeah. Mucci loves you.
All right, so the final question, as always, a legal question. What lawsuits or legal issues has your franchise or your company been involved in?
Yeah, so this is like a question. Basically, you're asking us to kind of knock down our fast food chain, because I can't imagine anything that
positive
we're
ones?
going to have that's going to be, to their benefit.
I have no issue with that. It's fine.
I've got two. I mean, your guy already sounds kind of messed up to begin with. So I've got two kind of little ones. There was a 2019 lawsuit brought on by a Californian woman who tried suing the Panda for this like weird team building exercise that she had to take part in. She was working there like from 2016 to 2018 or something like that. And part of this exercise was that her and her team had to like strip down and hug each other.
Okay.
And I don't know what kind of like exercise they were doing, but that already seems really messed up and very, especially in the 2010s. Like that's kind of that's pretty modern for that to be happening. And I guess it was to bring them closer. And this wasn't like a.
Can they do it without the stripping though?
Yeah, I mean, even the hug at this point would be like, oh, okay. What if you don't like the fucking people?
I used to do improv. We would have little things to like get us on the same page or close to each other. None of them involved taking our clothes off. So
Maybe you didn't take it seriously.
It was the wrong improv team.
So it was brought on by it was co-hosted by these other organizations too. So it wasn't just like this one manager at this one restaurant. It was co-hosted by a live seminars and this coaching academy.
Weird. That's
That
crazy.
yeah, that really it just was completely weird. She sued. But in 2021, a Los Angeles Superior Court judge, Elaine Liu, decided that because that ex-employee had signed two separate arbitration clauses, like she basically was bound by that. The judge was bound by that. She had to, the person bringing on the lawsuit was bound by the arbitration.
Okay.
Right. So that's what I had on that. Also, another lawsuit. This one more recent. Customers who placed a delivery order through Panda Express website or the app between July 17, 2020 and February 16, 2022, they had a service fee charge that basically they could be entitled to some relief because they were informed and basically misrepresented by the company that the cost of delivery in their advertisement was like a low price delivery, like for $2.95. Mm-hmm. Then they added an extra 10% service charge for delivery customers. So basically advertising that they had this like really low delivery fee and then kind of, pulling the wool.
Yeah.
And adding some more.
Not $2.95. It's like $3.30.
Yeah.
$3.25.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then so Panda
I love a delivery fee that's that much right
right.
now.
Exactly. But so the Big Panda didn't admit to any wrongdoing, but they did settle, however, for $1.4 million. So anyone that's placed a delivery through that time frame, they were entitled to some little chunk of little change.
It's like those sign up for this Facebook class action and get $5 or whatever.
Right. I think it was more than that for the Facebook
Yeah,
ones.
we did, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and any legal issues?
Yeah, so I'm going to throw back a little bit to my first answers. So the first lawsuit I'm going to bring up is obviously Chihuahua related.
Would expect nothing less.
So
Not Gidget.
Yeah. So not directly related to Gidget herself, but in 2003, Taco Bell actually lost a lawsuit that was filed by two men from Michigan who initially pitched the concept of using a Chihuahua for marketing to Taco Bell in 1996 at a licensing show in New York City. And so Taco Bell basically did not pay them for this idea that they had worked for over a year developing this whole ad campaign out. And at the time while it was working, it was called Psycho Chihuahua. But anyway, they did not pay them according to, fair pay scale back then for the work. So a jury awarded them over $30 million, actually. So, yeah, that was
significant.
Yeah, I mean, because the Chihuahua was so popular and made a lot of money for Taco Bell, so I think it was kind of, given to them that way. And then the other one, obviously a reference to Mexican pizza. Another more recent lawsuit, actually, from just last year, just about a year ago, in July 2023, a New York man filed a class action lawsuit against Taco Bell for false advertisement, stating that basically the photos they use for their ads versus the products you actually get are vastly different, and you actually get like 50% less meat fillings. So I think the lawsuit's still ongoing, but I did want to just read an excerpt from the lawsuit. Okay. So just to describe the events that came to this lawsuit before I read the actual quote. In September 22, this man purchased a Mexican pizza at a Taco Bell in New York for $5.49 plus tax, and he claims he did it because of the pictures that Taco Bell uses to advertise these items. So here's the quote. Plaintiff viewed Taco Bell's advertisements on the internet and at the store location before purchasing his Mexican pizza and expected the Mexican pizza that he purchased to contain a similar amount of beef and bean filling as contained in the pictures of the Mexican pizza in Taco Bell's advertisements. However, the Mexican pizza that plaintiff purchased contained approximately half of the beef and bean filling that he expected and looked like the images posted by other customers and cited herein. So for those of you watching this on YouTube, you can pause and Google this. And if you're listening, Google it. If you look at the pictures that are actually in the complaint, it's pretty hilarious. And maybe we can put some up here on the YouTube video. But, I would be upset too. I don't know if I would go through the trouble of filing a lawsuit.
He must be so traumatized to find that. I mean, my God, the U.S. is super litigious.
Yeah.
And we all, in law school, we all learned about the coffee spill case, right? And that was the McDonald's coffee spill case. And that was one where, at the time, the insurance companies were trying to make it seem like it was no big deal. Oh, coffee's supposed to be hot. It was even on Seinfeld. Coffee's supposed to be hot, and trying to downplay it. That one, she had really, really bad burns. It was pretty bad. Legit lawsuit that should have happened. She was fucked up. This guy, I think he's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna be fine.
I feel like his damages probably are not as great as hers. Especially if that happened today, with smartphones and everything. Those pictures could spread really easily. I think McDonald's really lucked out by that happening back when it did, because no one could see the actual photos of her burns and everything.
It became the poster child for we need tort reform, basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And this guy knew going in that the pictures weren't going to be matching up. That he knew that they weren't.
To quote the lawsuit further, if plaintiff knew that the Mexican pizza contained half of the amount of beef and bean filling as advertised, he would not have purchased the Mexican pizza, or he would not have paid the $5.49 price that he paid for the Mexican pizza. So
maybe you would have gone somewhere else.
Yeah,
maybe Panda.
I mean, $5.49 for one Taco Bell item is kind of pricey.
Yeah,
especially if it's only half of a picture.
Yeah, that's true. But the $5 deal box.
Yeah, pretty good. Well, will we hear about that in your closings, maybe?
Yeah, I definitely would like to talk about some of my favorite items in my closing.
Yeah. Okay.
Who wants to start with the closing?
I could start. Panda Express, very well known for their orange chicken. Big fan of it. That's obviously I have to have orange chicken. I usually get the plate, get the 2 actual like entree like menu items. I love the shrimp there, pretty good, but typically orange chicken, maybe some sweet fire chicken, or if I'm feeling a little spicy, something a little spicier than that. I do half rice, half chow mein because I want to get a little bit of variety. Everything's pretty good. It for the most part pretty fresh because it's all like just keeps rotating. Like people are going in and out. They keep filling that bad boy up. It's good food fast. So, it's in this debate of fast food, but it's good food fast.
Speaking of Seinfeld, not fast food, good food quickly.
There you go. And I will say, Panda Express really has a place in my heart for nostalgia reasons as well. I just want to throw this out there because when I was in high school, there'd be this Panda Express that I'd always go to, and I always knew when to time it out because it would be around like, I guess their closing time. And so I'd go in there, I'd order, they're kind of already kind of packing up. Food's still fresh. Food's still really good looking. And because they're closing down, because they want to keep their food fresh, they used to load me up. I'd get like 2-3 boxes. They'd be like, you want to take this? Sure, absolutely. They don't know that I was doing that on purpose. I was coming in at that time on purpose.
I'm sure they knew.
So, Panda Express for the win in my heart.
Yeah, I think, for me, Taco Bell is just always reliable. It is there when you need it after a night out. It is there when you need it when you're recording a podcast about Taco Bell.
So was Panda.
But yeah, so my go-to usually these days, because everything has gone up in price across the country, the one thing that has remained constant is the $5.99 create your own cravings box. I guess it is a little more than the old $5 cravings box. Mm-hmm. But this one you get to create your own and customize it. So what comes in this box for $5.99 is one specialty item. And usually I get the Crunchwrap Supreme. And then you get one classic item, which I usually get the beefy 5-layer burrito. And then you get to choose one side, and my go-to is the cheesy Fiesta potatoes. Oh. And then you get to choose a drink.
The potatoes are back because they were gone for like...
Oh, were they gone?
It was like several months in 2020, I think.
Oh, okay.
Heard Nicki Minaj brought them back.
Now I can't eat them. But finally, to complete the box, you get to choose a drink, which, of course, in the past, Baja Blast was the way to go, but my new replacement for that is the Brisk Dragon Paradise Sparkling Tea. It is very good. I would recommend it. And you get all of that, 4 items for $5.99.
Not going to be on the menu when this episode releases.
Hey, it's been around for a few years at least. So yeah. They even have a slushy version of it too. Obviously not sparkling, but a dragon fruit kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, what can you get at Panda Express for $5.99? Like some rice. Okay.
I would say for Taco Bell, like it is the type of thing that people say is like, I don't go to Taco Bell because I want Mexican food. I go to Taco Bell because I want Taco Bell. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously since coming to Chicago, I've had a lot more Mexican food, and that's a craving. But then Taco Bell is like a completely different craving, I think. I can't say I've had Panda as much over the past several years as I do have Taco Bell, but I will say, I think the nature of the debate involved Wee's side focusing a lot more on the negative aspects of Taco Bell and its history. So I think it's soured me on it slightly. Mm-hmm. And I think I'll give it to Panda because at least I can, Panda started with actual Chinese immigrants and, is a thriving chain.
I was really happy to learn that because I didn't obviously, you don't know anything about these fast food chains until you do something
especially
like this.
When Asian American history is not taught in most schools.
Well, exactly.
And Panda Express is iconic Asian American history.
I mean, right. And, when you're learning from a Chihuahua dog about, a different language.
I would 100%, I would 100% have thought it was like the Taco Bell type of thing of like some white guy like having Chinese food like from New York or something and being, just going like, oh, this is like what Chinese food is when it's like not necessarily it's like the Americanized version of it, but it is consistent and good. I mean, it's still like the same. It's still very similar to, you know, what you would get in like a New York Americanized Chinese chain or Chinese, you know, place or something. It's just like was it nation more than nationwide, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
More
U.S.,
international?
Canada, Mexico. There's it's in a couple different
Spread it
places
across the country.
Yeah. And I was kind of, and when I was like researching this, one of the first thing I did was look up the ads because I just wanted to see like, oh, you know, what kind of ads do they have? Are they?
How funny are they?
Yeah, how funny are they? And the AI told me some say that they're very funny. But there was this one commercial that really scared me into thinking that it was a Taco Bell kind of story because the scene is like this kid, he sees like his Asian neighbors that they're like cooking a meal. He's like with his dad. The Asian neighbor comes over. His dad and him are talking. He ends up for some reason going over to their house and like having dinner. And it's like chicken, like orange chicken looking stuff. And then he grows up. And in my mind, I'm like, oh no, this is the founder. Like he's going to completely rip these guys off. And no, it was just him like dropping off a box of Panda. And still at this point, I still thought it was like, man,
I made this.
He's the founder. He dropped off a box of Panda Express at their door and like did like, it was really weird. He did like a ding dong ditch, like just left it at the door. And at this point, the guy's like much older, obviously. He looks at it, he's like looking at it like, what the hell is this? And then the kid's like in the middle of the street, he's like, Happy Lunar New Year. And it's like, you couldn't stand in front of the door for him? Like, what are you doing? But yeah, I was like scared that was going to be the story of how, but no, I was pleasantly surprised.
The question is, would you still eat there if that was the story?
I mean, probably.
Yeah, I mean, we have no problem eating Taco Bell.
That's true. Well, this has been OTR debate, and Panda wins this time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so during this debate, I remembered an unlocked memory from high school. The cheerleaders during football games, I was in marching band, would do this cheer that was Taco Bell related. So it goes a little bit like, and you guys have to repeat me when I say it. Okay. So it's, hey burrito,
hey burrito,
hey burrito,
hey burrito,
yeah burrito, yeah,
yeah burrito, yeah.
Taco Bell, Taco Bell,
Taco Bell, Taco Bell,
guacamole cinnamon twist,
guacamole cinnamon twist.
Yeah. And that was it.
Oh,
and they repeated it.
Just end with that.
Wow.
Yeah.